have 21 fake dollars that I am going to use to build the perfect NFL roster. You can see that these are my options. I have a $5 row, $4 row, $3 row, $2 row, and a $1 row. And I need to pick one player from each position. Keep in mind the second to last row, that is a tight ends row. I know it says wide receiver and I know it's supposed to be tight end. So I'm making that very clear up front. If I see a bunch of comments that say the fourth row is labeled wrong, I know that you skipped this part of the video. So you pick one quarterback, one running back, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and a base team. The base team is your defense and your offensive line. And when selecting these players, you cannot have your total exceed $21. Also, a quick plug, this is my website. I did build this game. These are the players that we are starting with, but we will rotate these throughout the weeks and keep adding new players to keep things interesting. And the link to this is in my description. Okay, so we're going to start out. Now, the easiest way to look at this to start out is that $21 would get you a perfectly average team across the middle. If you picked every player at $3 even, you would be left with a $21 franchise. So the whole point of this is to pick and choose where you want to get a better player. And if you do that, where you are willing to sacrifice on your roster. So we are going to reset this and start from scratch. We are going to first start with quarterback. Now, right off the rip, Will Levis is not an option, and it doesn't matter how good the rest of your team is. And at least in my opinion, you are not going to win a Super Bowl or even make it close with a $1 quarterback. That is the most important position on the team. And although he doesn't necessarily have to be the best, he needs to be competent, which Will Levis unfortunately is not. Now at $2 for quarterback, we have Bryce Young, and we recently did a live stream where I brought on followers on the call during the stream and let you guys choose your team. I let you build your team out and have the chat rate your squad. And I did have a lot of people pick Bryce Young. They thought he was undervalued at $2. I think people are excited about, the few good games that he was having towards the end of the season. Granted, he did get benched for Andy Dalton at some point last year. Obviously, that was before he started playing a little bit better, but a lot of people were gravitating toward him just to save some money with the rest of the roster. I personally will not be doing that. I do not think that Bryce Young is at that level yet where he is going to carry a team to the Super Bowl, even if he has Philly's defense. So I am staying away from that. Maybe after this season, I will be changing my mind, but Bryce Young is just outside of that cusp for me right now. Next, we have Bo Nix, and this is very tempting for me. I think that my quarterback is going to be selected between Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. I don't think that I want to spend $5 on Josh Allen. I guess we will see how the rest of the team falls, but for right now, I think I'm going to be choosing between Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. Personally, I think that these two are pretty close, and I think that a lot of people believe that Bo Nix could have won Rookie of the Year last year. Granted, Jaden Daniels did, and he had a phenomenal season, and I think that the reason why I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels, at least for now, is the fact that we last year saw him win a playoff game against the Detroit Lions. I think that he has been there before. He's proven he can handle the heat, and he had an outstanding rookie season, and $4 is better than $5, so I'm going to take Jaden Daniels for my quarterback. Okay, next up, we do have our running back, and honestly, probably 12 months ago, I would have told you that I don't really care about this position and that is not very valued in today's NFL, and just one season later, that has completely flipped. We had Saquon and Derrick Henry switch teams and have a massive impact right away, immediately, and most notably, Saquon Barkley just won a Super Bowl. So I think that people are taking the running back position more seriously, and potentially we could see those running back contracts go up. So I do need to take that into consideration. I do not think I'm going to be rolling with a $1 or $2 running back. I, at this spot, really like Bucky Irving. I think Bucky had a great season last year and he has a bright future ahead of him. I do love Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that Saquon's going to be too expensive. I think I'm going to start with Bucky, and if we end up having some wiggle room in our budget, I might come back and upgrade that to Jahmyr Gibbs. But for quarterback and running back, I really do think that I need at least $3 and above. Okay, so we have spent $7 total. We have $14 left to spread across 5 different players. Well, 4 players and our base team. And for our first wide receiver selection, I am looking obviously at Jamar Chase and AJ Brown. I do think that we want at least one $5 receiver. I think this is where I want to spend my money on a $5 player. I think that the receiver position has been so impactful over the past 5 to 7 years. It always has been, but significantly so the last 5 to 7 years. It's become increasingly more important. And I do think that it would be great to have Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, potentially CeeDee Lamb. I just don't think he's on the same level as those 2 other guys. So I really got to choose if I'm going to spend $5 on Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. And really what that comes down to is who else is in their column that I'm willing to spend less money on. And looking at it right here, I think that, you know, if I get Jamar Chase, that means that I either need to get probably Christian Watson or Noah Brown. Whereas if I get Justin Jefferson, I can get Marvin Harrison Jr. or Alan Lazard. And I think both of those players are a little bit better than the prior two. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Justin Jefferson in this wide receiver 2 slot. Obviously, it's actually wide receiver 1. And then in this column, I'm going to take a $2 receiver in Alan Lazard. I think that Lazard has potential. And if we have a good quarterback, which we do, maybe he can bring out some of that Green Bay magic that he had a few years ago. And I think that $2 is at least a good value for him. So we have $7 left to split between our wide receiver, our tight end, and our base team. And when I'm looking at the base team, I think that we at minimum need the Bucks for $3. So I'm going to skip ahead and take that because I will just not feel good about my team no matter who I drafted if I get stuck with the Falcons or the Jaguars base. I need at least the Bucks. And this leaves us with $4 left to spend between our final wide receiver and our tight end. If I were to just split that $4 in between the two columns, that would leave me with Kevontae Turpin and Conklin. And I don't necessarily hate this team, but that is 3 2-star players, and that makes me a little bit nervous. I think ultimately what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace Tyler Conklin with Tucker Kraft, and this leaves me $1 to play with. So I could either move the Bucks up to the Ravens, or I can move Bucky Irving up to Jahmyr Gibbs. I could put Lazard to Marvin Harrison Jr., Turpin to Shakir. I don't think there's a big drop off between Kraft and Conklin. So I think I want to spend that dollar somewhere else. I just don't know where, because I feel like if I have Jaden Daniels and Jahmyr Gibbs, Gibbs can act as a second receiver. And now I have Daniels who can run, Jahmyr Gibbs who can run, Jahmyr Gibbs who can receive, and Justin Jefferson who receives better than anyone else in the league. And I have Turpin who's a weapon. He's a speedy receiver. He's a great punt returner / kick returner. And Lazard as just a guy that hopefully can make a few possession catches for me. But I feel like this gives me enough skill at the skill position guys, and Tucker Kraft, he'll have to do. And then we have the Bucks roster, the Bucks defense and offensive line. This to me is probably what I'm going to roll with, because like the way that I'm looking at it, I don't think Marvin Harrison Jr. and Shakir are big enough upgrades. I think the only two options really for me are to leave Bucky Irving and improve to the Ravens, or to take Jahmyr Gibbs and go back to the Bucks. I mean, I could also come up to Brown, go down to Watson. This is tough. I think that in this column here, I think Turpin is the best value pick by far, because he's going to be helpful on special teams and he's a decent receiver. He's like a nice weapon to have. I don't think any of these guys are worth moving out of that. This is the best guy at the $2 spot in my opinion. Let's go back to where we had it. Let's go Lazard, Jefferson, Turpin, Bucks, Kraft, Gibbs, Daniels. I think this is what we're going to roll with. I don't know. I haven't thought this out enough, and now I'm second guessing myself. I think that Daniels is a big enough gap. I think this is what we're going to roll with. I don't feel great, honestly. I might redo this. I need to think about it more. I kind of just jumped into this video because I wanted to just see what I would think on the fly. But I don't know. Let's see what we think. I think that Daniels, Gibbs, Jefferson is a great nucleus to have. Lazard and Turpin are going to be just fine. Kraft is there. And the Bucks are solid. So I think this is what we're going to roll with. I think this is it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Go to my website. The link is in the description. Fill out your own team. You can click this share button, send it right over to me, post it on your Instagram story or TikTok. I would love to see it. Comment. You can comment your team, what you think you would lay out. I would love to hear back. I would love to hear feedback on my team. I'm sure there will be critiques, but I'm curious what you guys think. So let me know. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, the link is in my description if you want to check out this website, and I appreciate you all very much. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. I appreciate you very much, and I will see you in the next one.